Alrighty, welcome back to Sunfran's channel. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for dropping by. As you may have already guessed by the video title, what we're going to be going over in this one is how to actually get power flowing through one of these bad boys and an actual demonstration of how they work. So it's going to be two parts basically. And hopefully the video won't be too long and you'll have a pretty good understanding of how to function one of these by the end of it. And so let's get started. The first is just power, right? How do you get juice flowing through this? How do you connect it to power, all that good stuff? Just a couple things to note. The first is we're going to be supplying you with a power cord. The power cord is 7 feet in length, so it should be able to connect almost anywhere you want it. Red is positive, black is negative, which shouldn't be anything too new. But a few things to keep in mind that probably is new is if you're just using a regular battery, it's perfectly fine. You don't really need to do too much outside of that. But if you plan on plugging this device into an existing socket that may have been for like a downrigger or a trolling motor or something along those lines, you do need to find your own adapter. As creators, it's just very difficult for us to find adapters that would fit for the various models out there, and it would be easier as a customer for you to do it by yourself. So you probably understand your product better than we do. Other than that, you definitely want to either use 12 volts or 24 volts of power, mainly because we don't really know anything beyond that. It could break or it could overload or it just doesn't work, but either way, trust us when we say that 24 volts of power is plenty for whatever you want to do, and that's just our recommendation. So with that being said, let's move on to the second part of the video, which is an actual demonstration. So in the past, when we've done videos showcasing the Smart Jigger, which we do encourage you to check out because they're pretty cool, a lot of work was put into them. But when we used to show them in the past, this entire box was either censored or it was covered with an even bigger Amazon box. And so this is probably the first time you'll be able to see like the live demonstration. And so I have two units here. This first one is just for you as the audience to sort of see the buttons, see the knob, sort of follow along while I'm going to be operating this one, which first of all is connected to power. Second of all, it's going to be oriented this way so that you can sort of see what the rod motion actually looks like as if you're actually fishing. And third is just, it's easier for me to push the buttons when I'm facing them and I don't have to like tilt, and it's probably going to be weird for the camera angle as well. But that's enough of me talking. Let's just jump right into how this thing actually works. So as you can see, there's 4 buttons and 1 knob on the Smart Jigger. The knob says teach. Along the right side, there's going to be 3 buttons, which is A, B, and random. I don't know if I actually pointed to them, but there's also a stop button underneath the knob. So we have 4 buttons and a knob. Let's start off with the knob, which is the teach. Basically, when you rotate the knob clockwise, it's going to raise this platform and it's going to elevate it to a higher angle. And if you rotate it back the way it was, counterclockwise, this is going to lower. So let me try to do like a side-by-side comparison. So if you move this clockwise and you move this counterclockwise back, then this is going to raise and lower the platform. So if you can imagine a fishing rod all the way over here, doing this will sort of raise the fishing rod, but more importantly, the fishing line will also go up. And so if you have like a lure here or some sort of bait, it's going to be going up and down as well. And so that's what the teach does. It just changes the angle at which the fishing rod and the line is going to be at. And clockwise increase, counterclockwise decrease. Moving on to the buttons. A and B are sort of just going to be the presets for your presentation. So I'm going to press the A button once. And so it's going to be repeating that motion that we already came up with. And when you get your device, you're probably getting, your A and B buttons will probably already be preset to something we created. You'll have the opportunity to change it, which we'll go over in the future. But if you wanted to stop at any time, just press the stop button. And so that'll happen. So one thing to keep in mind, which I think is one of the more important parts of this video, is whenever you decide to stop, it will go to whatever position this teach knob is. So For example, if I was all the way up here, it was doing some presentation, it was all the way up here, and I decided to press stop. It'll stay like this for a few seconds, and then all of a sudden slam down into the resting position. And we recommend you not do that, and you always want to stop when the lid is fully closed instead of stopping in the middle of a presentation. So the reason because is A, we don't know if doing this over and over again will cause damage to the product, to the unit. B, if there's kids, for example, and you're fishing with children or maybe inexperienced fishermen and you don't know what this does, if, for example, their finger gets caught here and it slams down, it's gonna hurt a lot. You know, you're not gonna maybe break anything or you're not gonna lose a finger, but it's definitely painful enough for you to not want to do it. So make sure this teach knob is always as far counterclockwise as you can go, and always stop the presentations when the lid is fully closed. Okay, so B is basically the same thing, except it's basically just another presentation storage preset. So you can press B, and it'll be repeating this motion over and over again. And I press the stop button once, and the presentation stops. Pretty easy so far, but now we'll go on to random, which is slightly different. So let's press the random button once and see how it goes. So random, as you can probably guess, is just you don't input anything, it just does whatever it wants. But you can see that this motion is very small. You know, if there was an actual rod here, it'd just be like jerking back and forth, nothing really happens. And this is because only for the random button is dependent on the position of the knob. So for example, because the knob is all the way at like the 0 or neutral position, the motion is very small. But if I turn it, for example, to like the middle, you can see the motion gets slightly bigger. And if I turn it all the way, like somewhere around here, you can see the range of the motions also increases by a lot. And so if, for example, you don't really have a presentation you want to go for, you just want the machine to do its own thing, just throw on the random button, choose a range, and you can just let it go freely. So one thing to keep in mind is before you stop this random presentation, you want to rotate the knob all the way back to neutral position, back to 0. And so when you press stop, it only falls a little bit. Nothing really, there's no loud clanking, there's no damage. Overall, a lot more safer than if you were stopping here and it just falls on its own. All right, so on to the most important part of the video, which is how to actually teach this machine new presets, because chances are you bought this because it has a wide range of application. It can do whatever you want, right? So this time we're gonna press the A button again, but instead of just pressing it, we're gonna press and hold for around 2 seconds. So 1, 2, I'm gonna let go and I'm gonna do some preset. And I'm gonna press A again. Right, so there was a long pause in the beginning because I sort of paused before actually teaching it. But you can see that in a matter of just maybe 4 seconds, I've completely rewritten the A preset into what I want. So all you have to do is either A or B, long press it for a little bit, and then press it again, and anything in between that will be remembered and it'll keep repeating it over and over again. So I'm gonna stop it right here, and let's do the same thing for B, right? B, I think it was a rather calm motion. Let's do something maybe more jerky. I'm gonna long press B, 1, 2. I'm gonna press B again. Bam, you have a new presentation just like that. And you know, it takes maybe 5 seconds to do it. It's super duper easy. I'm gonna stop it really quickly. One thing to keep in mind though is obviously you can teach it new stuff. All you have to do, once again, is long press it, do your motions, press it again, it'll remember. But there is around maybe like a 10-12 second time limit of between the long press and the stop, where if it's too long, the machine just can't remember all of it. But you'll never do like a preset that's like, oh, 12 seconds of just you moving it manually back and forth. Usually the point of jigging is to have some sort of loop or some sort of rhythm. and you can usually repeat those rhythms in less than like 4 seconds. So once again, if I want to go back to A, I just press A again. And if I want to go back to B, I'm just going to press B, after pressing stop, of course. I'm going to press stop, and there you have it. That's basically all you really need to know about our device. It's pretty easy to use, and we didn't want to add too many buttons because less is more oftentimes, but hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully it's something that's interesting. If you did enjoy what you saw, please consider leaving a like or a comment, or even consider subscribing. It really helps a lot, and hopefully we'll be able to get this to the market soon, and you'll be able to get your own Smart Jigger. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.